Megan's hands trembled on the steering wheel. She barely registered the road in front of her, the world a blur through tears she couldn't quite let fall. Her mind was drowning in the single image she couldn't escape. The sight of Dave, calm as stone, swabbing the inside of Jillian's mouth with a cotton stick. Her babies, their children, being tested like evidence in some trial. DNA tests. Her husband thought the children might not be his. He knows. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and keep watching, because the best part's coming up next. The thought stabbed her chest over and over. How could he know? She and Carl had been careful, so careful. Out of town, adjoining hotel rooms, never the same door, never the same lie twice. Even in bed with her husband, she hadn't changed a thing. No new tricks, no strange requests, nothing that could betray her. She had been cautious, disciplined, until now. A horn blared. Megan jolted back to the present, slamming on the brakes. Tires screamed as her car stopped just short of a little girl chasing a ball. The child froze, wide-eyed, before darting back to her mother, who glared at Megan with fury. Megan wanted to scream, "Watch your child!" But the truth landed like a hammer. It wasn't the mother's fault. It was hers. She had been too distracted by her own ruin to see what was in front of her. Her phone buzzed. Carl. Megan fumbled it open, typing with shaking fingers. He knows. Dave knows about us. The reply took forever. Then, hell, Mary is acting normal, so he hasn't told her. Do you think he will? How angry is he? Megan swallowed bile. Don't know. I ran as soon as I saw him testing the kids. The response was instant. Please beg him not to tell Mary. She stared at the screen in disbelief. Rage, hot and sharp, surged through her. Carl, the man who had whispered promises and stolen kisses, the man she had thrown her marriage away for, wasn't worried about her life, her family, her children. Only about himself. Selfish, cowardly bastard. For a fleeting moment, Megan imagined marching to Mary's door herself, spilling the whole sordid truth. If she was going to burn, why not take Carl with her? Misery loves company. But the fury didn't last. Guilt drowned it out, heavier, colder. She thought of her children, Peter's proud grin when he showed her his drawings, Jillian's warm hand slipping into hers on the way to school. She thought of Dave, steady, patient Dave, who had cooked dinner every night, who had carried more of the family weight without complaint. The man who had loved her. And she had betrayed him. The memory of the first night with Carl surfaced, unbidden. That deal in Sydney, the champagne that flowed too freely, laughter that turned too loud, and then, in the haze of exhaustion and alcohol, lips that shouldn't have touched. One night that should have been a mistake locked away forever. But it hadn't stayed that way. It became a pattern, a dangerous dance neither had the strength to end. And now, destruction. Megan's phone buzzed again, but she ignored it. She was done with Carl's cowardice. She thought back to the look on Dave's face when she had walked in. The quiet, unreadable calm, no shouting, no accusations. Just a steady gaze that had seen straight through her. She had turned and fled, but her silence had already screamed the truth. She had two choices now. Run further or turn back and face the storm. Her fingers tapped out a message before she could stop herself. I'm coming home. Please let me explain. Don't do anything hasty. As the word sent, her chest squeezed tight. For the first time in years, Megan prayed. Dave sat in the kitchen, hands curled into fists that still ached from the blow he had delivered hours earlier. Carl's nose had crunched beneath his knuckles, and in that moment, the rage had felt righteous, necessary. Now, in the stillness of the house, it felt empty. The kids were asleep upstairs, unaware that their world had shifted forever. Megan was gone. He had told her to leave, and she had obeyed without protest. That silence, that obedience, had been louder than any confession. But it wasn't her betrayal that haunted him most. It was the phone call. "Hello, David Brown speaking." And then Carl's voice, trembling, pleading. What's it going to take? Dave hadn't understood at first. The words spilled out in fragments. Fear of his wife, fear of losing his children, fear of exposure. Carl had confessed not because of guilt, not because of shame, but because he wanted to buy Dave's silence. Like what you see? Click like, hit subscribe, and stay tuned. Let's keep going. Dave had dropped the phone, sinking to the floor as the words carved through him. Megan, his Megan, had been unfaithful for months. The denial had lasted half an hour at most before anger roared through him like fire. He hadn't taken it out on Megan, though, not yet. Instead, he had driven straight to Carl's door and let his fist deliver the first taste of justice. And now? Now the anger was gone, and only questions remained. Why had Carl called? Why confess at all when Dave hadn't suspected a thing? And why had Megan walked in, seen him with the swab, and fled like a guilty child? The truth nagged at him, sharp and unsolvable. He wasn't swabbing his daughter for DNA that night. Jillian had a sore in her mouth. He had been applying Bonhella with a cotton swab when Megan walked in. It had been an ordinary moment, an act of care. She had seen it, panicked, and given herself away. Dave rubbed his temple, bitter laughter escaping him. He hadn't caught her. She had caught herself. And Carl? Carl's confession had been the final nail. 2 mistakes, her fear, his stupidity, and the whole rotten affair had come crashing down. He should have felt victorious. He had exposed the lies, ripped away the mask. But instead, he just felt hollow. Upstairs, the children shifted in their sleep. They didn't know their mother was gone. They didn't know tomorrow their lives would split into before and after. Dave stood, staring at the empty doorway where Megan had once stood, where she had fled without a word. He told himself he hated her, that he was done. But when his chest ached, it wasn't rage. It was grief. Megan left town 2 days later. She tried to fight, tried to reach Dave, but the community closed around him like a shield and cast her out like poison. Doors slammed in her face. Lawyers didn't return her calls. Waitresses ignored her at diners. Even Carl, bandaged and broken, could offer nothing but bitterness. His wife had divorced him. His children hated him, and his career was gone. They clung to each other out of desperation, but trust between them was a corpse. Every glance at his phone, every late return home, every unexplained sigh was suspicion. They had built their lives on lies, and lies were all they had left. Months passed. Megan reached out once, timidly, to ask if she could see the children. Dave's reply was cold but honest. They had moved on. The kids had a new mother now, Ruth, gentle and radiant, who filled the gaps Megan had left behind. When Megan finally returned, she saw it with her own eyes. A new family in the house she had destroyed. Her children laughing in the yard, calling another woman Mom. Dave smiling, whole again, while she watched from the shadows. She turned away, the weight of her choices crushing her. Her story had ended the moment she chose betrayal. Now she lived only in the silence of what she had lost. Dave lay awake one night beside Ruth, her steady breathing a comfort against his chest. He thought of Megan, of Carl, of the night everything had broken. He still didn't understand why Carl had confessed, why Megan had panicked. Perhaps he never would. But he no longer needed to. He kissed Ruth's hair, whispered a silent promise to never take her for granted, and let the past dissolve into the dark. For Megan, life was a lonely exile. For Dave, life, finally, was good. You know, this story really hit me hard. On one side, you see Megan, a woman who made choices she thought she could control, but who ended up destroying everything she loved. On the other, you see Dave, blindsided by betrayal, but strong enough to rebuild a new life. To me, this isn't just a story about cheating. It's a story about how fragile trust is. How once it's broken, it can never truly be put back together. It makes you wonder, when temptation comes knocking, is that moment of excitement really worth a lifetime of regret? If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so you don't miss any new uploads. And most importantly, I'd love to hear what you think. Was Megan beyond forgiveness? Or do you believe Dave should have given her another chance? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's talk about it.